Yesterday, we came up here, my wife and I, and we continue cutting the trail a little bit with the DR on deeper into the woods. Fall is now here. Look at the colors on the leaves. Anyway, so the woods are a little bit more clear than they were earlier. I'll show you the trail that we cut yesterday, and today we're going to continue doing that. So what we're doing is, she is following me around in Little Red here with the chainsaw in the back, and I'm cutting with the DR. And as we get to larger trees, I'm grabbing the chainsaw out of Little Red, and we are cutting down those trees, pulling them off to the side, and then continuing up the road, making a trail. My goal on this main trail is to make it wide enough that I can take the tractor up the trail, so that we can get a winch and we can start pulling logs up and pulling them out of there. So we're basically making a logging road, right? And there was an old logging road back there that apparently, I'm assuming it was used for logging in the past, and that's the road that we began following, but now I think we've kind of diverted off of it a little bit. So anyway, we'll get started, okay? It's gonna be a good day. So this is part of the trail that we worked on yesterday that I was just talking about, and we're headed back to the back side where we finished and where we're going to begin again today. Okay, cool. So up here is where we got to yesterday, and we're gonna go get the DR. Just wanted to show you what we've accomplished. Here's just a nice turnaround spot. got to figure out which way we want to take the trail. I'm not sure if the way we came is the best or not. Maybe better to cut this way through, but definitely can't go through that tree there, and I'm not going to take the time right now to cut that. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have no eye protection on. That's not cool, but I don't have it with me today. Well, I have some, but I can't see through it anymore. I've scratched it and beat it up so bad that it's just useless. It would hinder it. So just risking, I say don't ever do this. Don't try this at home. But I'm gonna cut down this big old tree. I mean, it's not big, but that's a big tree. Then a few as we go down. I've been going around them. And so come with me and we'll cut these things down, and we'll open up this trail so we can get the tractor and the four-wheeler and everything else we've got to go through here. Okay, so I think I've got some back this way as well. I definitely don't like using a chainsaw without eye protection. So if you see me fall over grabbing my eyes, you guys can laugh. Okay, let's see. Do I need to cut this one? Or am I good? I think I'm gonna cut this one so we can swing that way between those two trees. So let's give this a go. Give it a choke. I'm obviously an amateur when it comes to chainsaws, and you can see that, and you can see some mistakes that I was making. One of the mistakes that I caught myself making was, as I took the chainsaw, and let's use this one as an example, and as the bar was coming under here with the chain, and it got about to here, I recognized, and this is so small, I didn't want to do the V-cut and over, whatever that's called. I was just trying to knock it out, which is probably not the smart way to go about it. I should have probably come in, notched it, and then came on the other side. But as I was coming under, the weight of the tree was pushing over that way, and I knew that it was going to bog down and maybe get my chain stuck, or even pull my chain off the bar. And so I raised my right hand up, took it off the chainsaw, which, not smart, because that thing can kick back, and if it kicks back, I mean, all kinds of bad things can happen. And I, you know, helped the tree over in a certain direction. Obviously, you can't do that with big trees. You would never do that with big trees, and you shouldn't do it with anything at all, because you don't need to take your other hand off the chainsaw. That's an amateur talking. I have no clue if a professional would say the same. Well, no, I bet they would. I bet they would say the same thing, but I could be wrong, but I would not recommend doing that. But yeah, check it out. In just a short time, we took the Stihl chainsaw, I think it's a 261C, and we just tore up these big trees that were in the middle of the trail, these small trees. And this thing is awesome. MS261C. I really like it. Looks like my chain is loose now. Oh yeah, it's very loose. So I'm glad I stopped when I did. Got to get this thing tightened back down. You don't want to be cutting with it that loose either. And I just tightened it yesterday before I started cutting. I probably only cut about 8 trees yesterday, and then this, and it's this loose. So you need to check this chain every day and make sure it's good to go. So anyway, you got some good action with the DR. You can see the trail, how awesome it looks. And yeah, we're gonna keep doing this all around the property. We've got a creek down the way. We're gonna make a lot of beautiful points, areas into the creek, and I'll show you a lot of that, where we're gonna clear it out, maybe put up a few picnic tables up and down the creek. There's like 22,500 feet or more of just creek line that we have, and we're gonna make the most of it. I may have to take these two connections off here, these nuts that are attached, and just re-ply it. So let's see here. I want to give it a go. See if we get any kind of tightening. We really don't have any tightening. So let's crank it a little bit. And now I'm really putting it on heavy, and obviously it's not taking it. So that being the case, I'm going to back this off, and I'm going to back these off as well. I'm going to take this apart, and I'm going to see if maybe by reconnecting these, maybe adjusting the blade after I got this out, if I can get that to tighten up without giving it such a hard twist. So yeah, these on this particular saw, these remain connected to this little plastic shield here. They don't come off, which is nice, because I'm sure they've done that because people have lost them before. And so I'm just cleaning out this a little bit, let you see a little closer what we're looking at. But obviously you might see in here, right here, this has to be on its thing there. Let's take it off, let's show you. Okay. It's actually just this one down here, so there's not one at the top. So when I pull this back a little bit, when I adjust this, it's moving. It's adjusting this back and forth. So taking this back obviously is taking that back, and I'm wondering if there's an adjustment that you can do so that there's just more room for it. So let's go ahead and pretend this is on there, and let's say I took it all that distance. I'm just curious to see how far that goes before I have to really give it a hard crank. And it looks like it just keeps going and going, which tells me that something else is binding. It's not this. Now I'm way over here before it starts getting tight. So I'm gonna take it back. Just curious. This is just curious minds. Curious minds sometimes breaks things too. So we don't want to do that. Look at that mess. Just cleaning out this area here where the chain goes in. A little bit, blowing it out. All right, let's see if we can put this back on. Clean that up. Now I watched a Stihl dealer and service guy put this on, and he made it look so easy. Now I've done it, and I might have done it on video already before, and it's something that I don't do often enough to recall the best way to make it work just yet. So let's put this chain on where it goes. All right, and now our goal is to with the chain inside the bar properly. So I'm in here now. What I'm gonna do before I'm gonna kind of see if this will tighten at all. Yeah, I can feel it tightening up even before I put my shield on. So I got it snug without the shield. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop the shield on, give these nuts a little bit of a tightening up by hand, and now that I got that by hand, I'm going to give that a little bit of a okay. Now definitely getting better here. So let's go ahead and snug these down some. Give it a good little tight. Don't want this to back off while I'm cutting, but I don't want to over tighten it either. So let's get you back down here where you can see. So what we've got now is about this much tightness. Now I talked to the Stihl dealer, and what he told me was that it needs to be loose enough that it can pull up but not come out of the groove that's in here. And so that's exactly what we have. We've got it coming up, but it's not, and I'm pulling hard, it's not coming up so far that the bottom of the teeth are out of there. A whole lot better than it was. I mean, you saw how loose it was a moment ago. So let's give this a crank, and let's see how if it runs, if the chain spins on the bar. Okay. All right, here we go. Maybe we can choke it a second. Okay, now that we saw it was spinning just fine, we see that it's still about right where it was. So I feel pretty confident in where the chain is, the way we've got it in there, and the level of tightness that we've got. I topped it off with oil and the mixture of the gasoline and the Stihl 2-cycle oil this morning. mixture. And so we're ready to cut some more trees. Man, what a beautiful day it is. It is gorgeous out here. It's cold. The high today, and again, it's early November. The high today is only going to be 54, I think. No, 58 degrees today. Where's it 54? Let's see. I know you're interested. Wait, no, I'm totally wrong. The high today is 48 degrees. Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna edit this out.